when councillors heard that City Hall had entered into a contract for parking meters is when the contract was already signed.
Shouldn't the mayor have asked the town clerk to do that rather than appearing to be in cahoots with the town clerk?
Well, the mayor should have exercised better judgment.
In this part 2 and final installation of my interview with former Deputy Mayor Sherrod Duncan, you will hear his take on what he says are the many unilateral engagements of the town clerk. I also asked Mr. Duncan whether or not he thinks the mayor is culpable with regards to the behaviors of the town clerk. You will also hear what Mr. Duncan thinks of the newly tabled motion of no confidence against the town clerk.
Because of that, because we didn't have a chance before the contract was signed, is why to this date we're still renegotiating the parking meter contract, because when the government, now when Sherrod Duncan or the councillors, when the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Legal Affairs looked at that contract, the government through those agencies said the terms were burdensome. They were onerous. As a matter of fact, the president said the terms were burdensome. The ministry said that the terms were onerous. They were exploitative. And they said that in some instances where it concerned taxation under the contract, the persons who would have done those clauses were ignorant to how taxation is done.
Inasmuch as the mayor seems to have acquiesced to the desires of the town clerk, why aren't the councillors holding the mayor's feet to the fire?
Well, the councillors have every right to do that, and I have done so on several occasions, but I am placing those issues that the town clerk has direct control over at the town clerk's feet. The town clerk is circumventing the authority of the council. That is what the town clerk is doing. And the town clerk is abusing what we call broadly the emergency clause, which we spoke of earlier, that if you have an emergency, then a certain amount of money can be spent. Take, for instance, the burial ground in Georgia and the works there. Well, the cleaning of that burial ground should be an annual activity and not an emergency. Now, you are spending over $125 million. That's what City Hall says that they're paying the contractor for the cleaning works there. That never came before the Finance Committee. That never came, and even if it did, remember, the committees only make recommendations. The committee cannot make decisions. That matter never came before the council for scrutiny.
You said just now that when the vendors were moved from Stabrook Market, when they were moved from Rob Street, you talk of the parking meter. And at every instance, you showed that the country's administration vis-a-vis the cabinet or the ministers, you spoke of Walter Lawrence, you spoke of, by implication, Basil Williams, Legal Affairs, you spoke of none less than the president himself, all having problems with those actions. Who is the town clerk answerable to, and why are the people or the person to whom he's answerable not reining him in?
Well, I will say this, that in the absence of the local government commission, the town clerk was answerable to the Minister of Local Government, or as we say now, the Minister of Communities, the Honorable Ronald Bulkan. Now that you have the commission in place, the town clerk is answerable to the commission. So even when the no confidence motion is passed, and I have every confidence that it will, that motion still has to be forwarded to the local government commission, and the town clerk still has to be afforded a hearing at that forum.
Why did the people who had jurisdiction over the town clerk, given the many problems that they themselves would have cited, why wasn't he reined in before?
Well, I think that the town clerk was given several warnings. Like any person who is employed in any company, unless the matter is so egregious in the first instance, you're giving a warning, a second warning, and so forth. I think that has been happening. I think the Minister of Communities himself has written to the town clerk written to the mayor several times that issues really pertaining to the town clerk. The mayor again is a political head of the council, and just recently on the issue with the Bel Air playground, the minister had cause to write to the mayor saying that, this action that is being taken by the town clerk does not enjoy the favor of the cabinet.
Let's talk now as we conclude about the no confidence motion. Who conceptualized that motion?
I conceptualized it, and I had some input from the current Deputy Mayor Lionel Jaikaran, who was instrumental in co-signing it.
What are the possibilities of that no confidence motion passing?
Every possibility, because the issues that are raised in the no confidence motion, and some I've alluded to here, are not new. What the no confidence motion seeks to do is catalog all of our grievances that we've had with the town clerk. Every instance where the town clerk, or at least the major ones, where the town clerk has tried to circumvented the authority of the council, where the town clerk has operated outside of his remit as town clerk. We have sought to chronicle that, to catalog that in a coherent manner and put it forward as a formal document before the council for its consideration. And hopefully on the 12th of March, councillors get a chance to speak to the issues contained in the no confidence motion.
That's the next statutory meeting,
That's the next
12th
statutory
of
meeting,
March.
correct.
Does the current mayor, Patricia J.S. Green, find favor with that motion?
Well, the mayor will have an opportunity on the 12th
But
to say exactly that.
Has there been any straw poll test? I mean, has any discussion been going on with the mayor?
No, I haven't spoken with the mayor. There have been, over the last 2 years, there have been a lot of pushback on a lot of the issues concerning the town clerk directly by the mayor. I think it's a natural instinct after sharing a working relationship with someone for so long, that the instinct is to defend them.
What can Mr. King do at this juncture to cause the proposers of this no confidence motion to withdraw the motion? Is there anything, can you guys meet over a cup of coffee and talk about where you are, what has been done, and is there anything that Mr. King can do before the 12th of March to have that motion not go forward?
I think Mr. King is doing several things, hoping to soften the minds of people in Georgetown. I'm seeing some projects being hurriedly done, which is the usual. When you get a sense that the public is against you, you try to do a couple of things to kind of dissipate the momentum. But I think we have given the town clerk a very long time. This government, my government, was elected for a different dispensation. And I believe if it was wrong under the previous town clerk, Carol Sober, it is wrong now.
Does the no confidence motion find favor with any of the administrators of the country at the executive level?
I think it does.
For Channel 2 Headline News, I am Wendell Jeffrey.